Hello and welcome back to the channel. What you're looking at is my 7,000 watt genset that I've spoken to you about before. This is a gas powered unit, and between the weight of this unit and the weight, if I get this to spin the right way, bear with me here, of that Mastercraft air compressor, I'm looking at almost 400 pounds. In addition to that, this gas generator is exactly that. It's a gas genset. Where the little blue sticker is the gas tank. That holds 6.6 US gallons of fuel. Well, you don't just carry 6 gallons of fuel, you carry a lot more fuel with you. So you're probably going to have 15 gallons of gasoline. This is stored in the same area as my electrical is. That's a fire hazard. You know, we're looking at an explosion here. Not a good idea. So between the weight of these two units and the fact that we're running gas, it's not a good idea. So I've gone out and I bought two brand new inverters. I'm going to go and set the inverters up. I'll shut the video down here. Go grab a coffee, and I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce you to Carutu Inverters. These are the people that I chose to buy my new inverters from. After doing a lot of research, they were probably the best company I could find. And I'm very, very happy that I made this choice. The customer service with this particular company, probably the best I've ever had to work with. If you've got a question, you need a question answered, I send an email to powerinverter@163.net. The manager's name is Ellen. I have sent emails out after hours on weekends, and I have got an answer. I send my emails out to businesses with a tracker program, so I know when the email was sent, when it was read, and if Ellen doesn't have an answer, she'll send it to different members within her team until somebody comes up with one. And I know that because my tracker says this email has been opened so many times. The customer service here is absolutely fantastic. If you don't have good customer service up front, what are you going to do if you have a return? I did a video called Why I Cannot Do Business With You, and it was about not just one, but at least two different companies that did not respond to emails, and their customer service was, to put it rather politely, crap. These guys are really good to deal with. Look up CarutuInverters.com. They make a wide range of products. You don't have to buy just these two. I did, and now I'm going to tell you why. I purchased a tap set just like this one. This is my second one. This is my backup. In here is a 3,000 watt immersion boiler. This will make hot water to do dishes at the sink. And my other one, there's a little piece of plastic that goes in here, and there's a sprayer arm that comes off here. I bought that unit because at the time I was looking at using a Toyota Hilux with an Alucab canopy camper, and the sprayer was going to be my outside hot shower. In the back of the Hilux, because you've only got a 6-foot box, you can't have a shower. Now that I'm working on my third platform, I have an inside shower. Because I have an inside shower, I now have unit here, which is 3,600 watts. It's an on-demand shower. Most North American people are not used to this, but everybody else in the rest of the world uses things like this. This is on demand. Here in Asia, we don't have hot water tanks, so the only way you're going to get a hot shower is to use a setup like this. And this one, the technology is from Japan, even though it's assembled here. I bought this particular unit for its features, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is the inverters. I needed an inverter that would power this unit. To do that, I needed a 5,000 watt inverter. One of the things I purchased was this remote screen. When you mount your inverters, you're more than likely never going to be able to read the screens that are here or here because you've got your inverter squirreled away someplace. The only way to find out what your inverter is doing is to use a remote screen. This is an extra. And obviously I bought two, one for each unit. They're not much money. I would really suggest that you purchase one. The remote screen attaches to this green pin here and this green pin here. The 220 unit has two outlet ports. The 4000, whether it's 110 or 220, only has one. I'm going to run this port into a breaker box that holds 4 15 amp circuits. I could run the 4 15 amp circuits and probably run 2 at a time, but I can't run all 4. But this means by running a breaker box, I can get rid of power bars. There is only one plug in my bedroom. So I have a power bar like this one with a second one plugged in here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one bar and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other. So in other words, I got like 9 circuits all running off of one bar. In Asia, the little black square in that plug is a 13 amp fuse. This will blow before the breakers will. I've never popped this fuse. Now, while I have stuff piled all over here, I'm not running it all at once. It looks like crap and it's not right. Why a 5,000 watt inverter? This pin set up here will allow me to draw full power out of my 5,000 watt inverter. I'm going to run this to a box that'll split off, and I will have a lighted switch to let me know that there's power on it when I turn it on. And that power will go to a box with a European switch like this. The European plugs, there's a small switch in the corner up here that you turn on and off, otherwise there's no power here. And that's how I can turn on and off the plug that goes to that shower. The splitter will run over to another plug that feeds my sink tap set. These two plugs here will go to separate receptacles. In other words, I'm going to have one receptacle here and one receptacle here. My Mind inverter is 3,000 watts. It also has 2. So when I set up my kitchen, I'll have one of these plugs in the kitchen, and the Mind, I will have one of those plugs in the kitchen, and these two will go, this one here and the other one on the Mind will go elsewhere. My main cooking induction unit is a Philips, and it's 2,000 watts, and its backup is 2,200. You cannot run either one of those units with a 2,000 watt inverter. It's the same problem I had with the tap set. If you have a 2,000 watt inverter, you're not getting 2,000 watts out. A 3,000 watt inverter running at 87% is putting out 2,610. So in other words, I could run one of my induction cooktops off my 3,000. And that's what I'm going to do. The other circuit in the kitchen will come off one of these two. That way I'm splitting the load between the two inverters. I'm not running one inverter flat out. Gentlemen, go into the bathroom and pick up your wife or girlfriend's hair dryer, and you'll find that thing is pulling at least 1500 watts, maybe more. On a 2000 watt inverter, yes, you can run her hair dryer, but you can't run anything else. English translation: don't try to run the old lady's hair dryer and cook rice at the same time with a rice cooker. Not enough power. The 110 unit is set up because I have 110 equipment. My KitchenAids are 110, my stereo system is 110. Now, to a lot of other people, it's kind of stupid to carry a 110 sound system, but I've got tunes playing every day. And it's been like that since I was 8 years old. So for the last 6 to 2 years, I've always had tunes. I'll pay the price, I'll carry my big Paradigm system with me. That's one of the reasons for the 110. And the others are stuff like my KitchenAid. One port, remote control switch. This pin unit here is the same as this here. It allows me to draw full power. Why did I buy a 4,000 watt inverter? I bought a 4,000 watt inverter because I have a welder. My welder is only 15 amps. But I've had that welder long enough that I know if you put it in a regular 15 amp house current, the minute you start welding, you don't get more than 3/4 of an inch and the breaker blows. Because the surge power plus what you lose in all the extension cords overpowers the breaker and the breaker trips. So you put it on a 20. Well, you get welding a little bit further, but then again the breaker trips and the breaker's continually tripping. If you put it on a 30 amp system, you can run until the machine's thermal protection kicks in and it shuts down. This gives me 30 amp full power out of this welder, out of this pin to run my welder. Now I'm going to switch the plugs over to twist grips, so the only thing that's going to get powered is the junction box that the welder is going to be powered off of. The other thing about having two inverters is I can power outside plugs off one inverter and not run my main. One of the beauties of this is they come with remote controls. Each unit has its own remote. Even if you're not running anything, that screen and this screen and the one on my mind are all drawing power. Think of your stereo system, your TV sets, your computer, anything that has an instant on is always drawing power. And the only other way to shut the power off is to basically disconnect the power between this thing and its power source. I can do that with the remote control for the Carutu units. That's one of the big advantages the Carutu unit has. My mind does not have that feature. I've had to go out and buy a separate switch, which I'm going to have to put into the system so that I can, when I'm leaving my camper, I can shut off the power to that mind separately. That's more wiring, that's more junction boxes, that's more of a pain in the ass than pushing the button. That's one of the things you need to think about. The other thing to think about, ladies and gentlemen, is not to make the same mistake I did. You've heard the saying, go big or go home. This 5,000 watt unit is a 5,000 continuous pure sine wave inverter. This is a 4,000 watt continuous pure sine wave inverter. I can run this at 5,000 watts till the cows come home. I'm not going to do it any problem at all. It'll spike it. It'll take as much as 10 if I spike it for a few seconds. But we don't want to be doing that, do we? If you're going to only have one inverter, make sure you buy the biggest inverter you can get. Why? Because the minute you upgrade, you're going to find that little 2,000 watt inverter that came with your camper that you were so happy with ain't going to cut it anymore. There are induction units out there that run less than 2,000 watts. Chris and Angie on YouTube. You'll find them as The Outfit. They have a beautiful Mog that they drive around in Australia with. Angie has a 2-burner induction unit that is 1,100 watts. And yes, you can run that off a 2,000 watt inverter. Can't run a whole lot else if she's got both burners going, but it will run it. These units are very well priced. The service from this company is top notch. If you've got a question, ask. If you want to ask me, that's okay. I'm ugly, but I don't bite. If I didn't need the 110, I wouldn't have been buying that. I bought this unit first, and then I got thinking around, and I said, okay, fine. What are we going to do here? I can run my welder off of this, but I don't want to be running the welder and my shower and my sink all off the same circuit. Now, obviously, I'm not using them all at once, but I don't like that idea. And because I need 110 power anyway, I bought this unit here. I went with the 4,000 because I need the power for the welder. If I didn't have the welder, I'd probably buy the 4,000 anyway, for the same reason that I just got finished telling you. Go big or go home. I bought a 3,000 watt inverter thinking I had everything figured out. I didn't. Okay? This is 4,000 watts. At 87%, that's less. Always do your power factors. When you're looking at buying an inverter, upside. It's cheaper now to go and buy a big inverter like this that everybody thinks you're dumb and stupid for buying than buying a small inverter and 6 months or a year later turning around having to either buy a bigger one or buy a second smaller one and run different circuits. Most campers only have one plug. And if you're running an induction cooktop, I can guarantee you, because I like to cook, no way do I want to cook with only one burner at a time. I've got a commercial gas stove sitting behind me. I got 4 big burners and a wonderful oven. And if you're doing something like spaghetti and meat sauce, you've got 1 pan full of spaghetti, you're doing your meat sauce on another burner, you've got your coffee sitting warming on the 3rd burner. You can't do that if you've only got 1 burner. So think about that. Most people don't. And then you find yourself 6 months or a year later spending the money, which is now, of course, the prices have all gone up, buying something like this. If you need a 2, buy the 5. These are very reasonably priced. These 2 units cost less than one 200 amp hour lithium battery. The pair of them. They were about 75% of a Battle-Born battery. Think about that when you do your homework. If you're looking for an inverter, give Carutu Inverters a shout. Take a look at their website, carutuinverters.com. They make smaller units. This is the big boy. This is the next step down. But if you need something smaller, they make smaller too. But I'm suggesting that you learn from what happened to me and you go this route right off the bat. Now, by having the mind, I have 4 of these plugs, which is going to make life so much easier. But now I spent a lot of money, and now I've got to wire in 3 different inverters. But such is life. My solar system runs 3 different Victron MPPT charge controllers because the 150 only holds 2 panels. I have 4 on the roof of my camper and 2 that I'm running as ground units if and when I need them. I am pulling 1.6 kilowatts on the roof, and with all 6 panels I'm pulling 2.4. But solar needs is a different video, and we'll do that later. These are really good inverters. When I first started shooting this video, we had a power failure, and I was ready to take the table off of here, the other end of the board sitting on the trunk of my car. I was going to set it up at the front and hook the big boy up, fire up my engine. And my dog down here, she gets rice every other day. I was going to cook her rice with the rice cooker off this unit just to break it in. I may do that next week. Carutu inverters, fabulous product, excellent customer service. Give them a shout. I am not sponsored. I paid full price for both of these units, including shipping. When you only have 410 subscribers, you don't have people banging on your door saying, we want to send you something to try it out. When you get a couple of million, maybe, but not when you're down where I am. I am not going to suggest that you buy something I will not use myself, because that I consider to be just plain wrong. And with that, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.